Hey, what's going on YouTube creators? Um, this is Ron coming to you today in regards to another video. Last week we had um, gone into detail about how to cut out subjects um, from their background for sports graphics, sports posters, pretty much anything really sports related. And this is my model. He's back, Jake Drury. Um, and in this video, I'm actually going to be going over layers. Um, Layers are very important, especially in the poster design process or any kind of sports graphics. So let's get started. So layers, you notice this is my layers palette. Now last week this was to showcase our cutout to make sure that there's no extra um, any kind of parts from the photo. So I'm going to delete this. And so now we just got our transparent background with our subject. So now, if you don't see the layers, you can go up to Window and then Layers, or you could press F7. That's the shortcut key. But as I mentioned in the first video, I'm not going to go through shortcut keys because I either don't always use them, or especially for these tutorials, some of you may not know proper shortcut keys. So I'm just going to keep everything basic. So this is this is our subject now. Now the objective goal, like I'm not gonna make like the most outstanding poster. I mean, these tutorials are mostly to get you have an idea of the process and take you step by step, so that way you can think of ideas and ways to create posters and concepts yourself. So these are just some backgrounds that I'm probably going to be looking at. This is a hockey stadium with the background. These are mostly stock images you can get online. Background. This is colorful smoke, and this is more like a sort of like a grunge sort of um, dotted kind of background. I may end up using this, but um, I'll show you the different types of ways that you can incorporate some of these things into your sports posters and sports graphics. So we're gonna go to our layers. I'm gonna make a new layer, which is this like little paper with like the part of it is kind of folded back. I'm going to create that, or you can go to layer, um, new, and then layer. So this is my layer. Now notice that there's two layers. You got the layer thumbnail, which is the photo that it's on. If I click on this little eyeball next to it, notice that it disappears. Now there's nothing. Even though I made a new layer, there's nothing that is on top of this one. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna take this. I'm just gonna take this background, copy it. You're gonna highlight it. So you come over here to the rectangular marquee tool, just come over, highlight it, click edit, copy, and then you're gonna paste it. So paste in place. That's usually what I use. Now notice it's over our subject. Okay, that's because it's on the top layer that we just made. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on the layer and then you're gonna bring it down. See, now notice now that our subject, our cutout subject, I should say, sorry, our cutout subject is actually on top of our graphic background. So again, Now, this is, I always like to, I mean, you don't have to necessarily name your stuff. I just call this like a background base. Um, Now, I just call it background base because this is really what you're working with as far as like the background goes. Now, as soon as we start getting more advanced into, um, our sports graphics and sports posters and stuff like that, um, now, I mean, this is more so like a wallpaper. But as far as like a poster goes, that this would not be this typical size unless you're really printing like 11 or maybe like a 24 by 36. So this is not actual sizing. This is just showing you the ways of how to create a poster, or if you want to do just a wallpaper or something like that, you can do that as well. But this is not your standard size that you would be using for a poster. Um, I just wanted to be clear with that. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take this smoke looking kind of effect. I'm gonna copy that, and again, I'm going to. This is gonna go over my uh, my image. Now in this part, I may make a separate video on basically like the different kind of types of transparencies, but or transparency effects and stuff. But it's more so like and to do this, to transform it, you just go to edit and then free transform, or Ctrl plus T. And I just want to get this to the exact size that I want to get it to, so it fits with the graphic. So up here is your set modes. I may go into a different video on this, but for this video, we're gonna usually, this is how you start to blend stuff. This is how you usually, now to a certain extent. Now it doesn't mean that you're gonna get full blending capabilities. Sometimes you may have to use your brush, but in this case, we shouldn't have to. So I'm gonna play with either screen. Multiply might be a little bit too much. Overlay. There's different effects to this. Like you can, I mean, something like that. That's cool. I may end up using the other one. This is something that's interesting, but I don't think we're gonna use that. That's a black and white. We don't want that. Um, So sometimes you have to play with this kind of stuff. It's not always easy to figure out like what works, but I think we're gonna have to use a brush. So in this case, we're gonna use a brush. Now this is where some things can, it may get a little tricky for some of you. But remember last week we kind of went over with layers and layer masking. And I told you if you go to layer mask and we're going to do reveal all. Okay. Now make sure your mask is on black, the fill. And for our opacity, which is up here, we're going to go on to like maybe 20%. If I can get that. If not, just type it in. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to lightly go over this. We're going to lightly, and one way that you can also detect on like your subject too, is you can click, when you click on the layer thumbnail, which is onto the left side, not the right. If you click on the right, obviously you're in the mask mode, but if you click on the left side, which is directly on the photo itself, and you click your opacity, now you can bring this down a little bit. And then if I go back to my, whoops, enter and select mask. Okay. Whoops. Sorry about that. Um, Now I'm back on my layer thumbnail. Now I'm gonna go over this. Now you can actually see where your subject is, and you don't necessarily have to worry about um, making sure that your subject is in part of that. Um, so and as over time like goes, like you can obviously change um, the opacity of the brush. I'm going to go to 38% now. So notice now you get more out of it. You can really see our subject sort of coming to life. Um, go over the stick a little bit. We're going to go back. We're going to go and reverse it to white because I just want to make sure that. Okay. Alright, go back to 100%. So now, notice now it's coming a little bit together. Um, I mean, this is really not necessarily something that looks 100% the greatest, because obviously, I haven't really, I haven't really taken it out, all the background yet. So, or your layer, I should say. So, just want to make sure that you know. Now I'm going to leave the skates like that a little bit. I think that gives it a nice like little effect. You can always go back and add more to it, like for example, if you go onto the white, you can always add this like smoke back in here. Um, you just play around with a little bit. If there's a way that um, you know there's a certain style that you like, it necessarily doesn't have to always be, your subject doesn't always have to be standing out um, the way that it does. It can be, you can add a little bit, you know, a little bit in the logo. And this kind of does too with like some lighting effects. Like you can go on the face a little bit. You could play a little bit around with it. Um, and so then now for the background itself, because now we notice we don't have the stadium um, in the shot anymore. What we can do is we're going to make our brush a little bit bigger, our opacity a little bit bigger. And what we're going to do, we're actually going to go back to our um, black. And then we're just going to sort of do a little swooshes. We're going to go in some circles. Okay. And then this is our background is starting to come back to us. Um, Now, like I said, of course, it's, all this is just you're playing around with it, you're seeing what works. Um, okay. And then, we can't really I'm gonna get off off his face a little bit. Although, like maybe right there a little bit. No, I don't like that. Okay. All right. There we go. Um, So we got the smoke. Um, you know, it's starting to turn into a little bit of something. Um, you just play around with it. I mean, this is okay, but I personally, I might do something else other than this. This is just me showing you and teaching you what to do as far as layers goes, and like the powerful idea of what you have can be transformed into something awesome. Um, so I'm gonna actually go back to, let's say, 30%. I'm gonna just kind of go on to the ice. We're gonna kind of we're gonna just kind of, you know, make you see the ice a little bit. It's um so yeah, I mean that's kind of turning into something a little bit. Um now um now if you want to go crazy, this is like, so the different effects that, I mean, you could play, like, you can go crazy and be wild with it, but I mean, you can add multiple layers and you can make multiple layers. So if I just copied that one background, I'm going to paste it in place. This is more like a blurry background, to be honest. It's not really something, you know, but a lot of these make for great textures in some case. Um, Especially if you want to like get to a certain style. Um, See, notice a little bit of a difference. Now it looks a little bit more sort of smoky, has that little bit of um, smoky look to it. Um, this is really making it smoky. So see, if you duplicate your layers, you can also do that. You go up here, you could duplicate your layer to make it more intense. You can change your blending mode. Say if I want to do it to like multiply, I can. Um, Color burn. Um, I like that. Like that. That's really cool because it really gets the intensity from the sky. That does too. That's really cool. That's a little crazy going. That's obviously like black and white. Um, but I think what we're gonna do. Let me see here. If I want to leave that, I think I'm gonna just leave it for one right now. Um, just because, uh, you know, it I think it looks fine the way it is. Now, now this is one way of doing like a graphic, just to start you off on. You play around with it a little bit. Um, Mess around with a little bit of brushes. Now that's another video I'm gonna make too. Brushes, brush effects, and the different kinds of brushes that you can use. There are free ones. There are ones that you can pay for. Um, and there's ones sometimes, if once you get into Photoshop more, you can start making your own brushes depending on like what you're trying to make and what the style is. Um, so this is just one version um, of what I made. I can make another version. For most of you who don't already have their textures, I'll actually do that right now. Where I'm actually gonna make, I'm gonna group this. I'm gonna group those so that way we're gonna. All right, we're gonna just start from total beginning. Sorry, that's some of my work for my personal projects. All right, guys. So after crazy amount of time, I managed to find some backgrounds. So I found this one. This is like a silver texture. Um, this is like a stadium-like kind of texture background. This is like a sort of like a looks like a uh, sort of like a starburst hole kind of looking robotic background. And this is like obviously the city of Chicago, since this is going to be, part of a Chicago team. Um, we're going to be kind of going over that. Um, so just our background, and then this is another texture that we obviously already started kind of messing around with. I may not use this, so I'm actually gonna exit out of that. It's a cool looking texture, but I don't think we're gonna use it for this one, or for this tutorial at least. So I'm gonna copy this. That was the texture that we used before. Don't want that. So our subject. Whoops. We're gonna go paste it. Okay. And then again, we're going to take our layer that's on top of our subject. We're going to bring that down. Might actually bring this over. I don't know. And then thinking what we can do, we're going to take this texture. We're going to put this on top. We're gonna play around. We're gonna play around. When I was in college, my professor would tell me if you didn't understand a software, kind of play around with it. You know, play around. Have some fun. See what you can, what kind of tools you can do, what kind of things you can create. So play around with it. That's that's exactly what I'm going to give to you. Is play around with what you're doing. Um, this is another. Oops. That one effect looked pretty cool. If we go back, something like that, that looks neat. Um, it's crazy looking, but now I also, um, this is on top of our subject. I didn't like how that look, like anything looks, so I'm gonna go bring it down. I'm gonna see how it looks. I kind of like that. I do like that. That's cool. So we're gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna see what else. I'm actually gonna exit out of the backgrounds I just used. Um, and then now we're gonna add another layer. We're working with multiple layers here, so um, it sounds crazy and confusing, but at the same time, um, it it's actually good that you work with multiple layers now, because then once we start like looking at getting in more advanced stuff, it's going to be more than just a couple layers. So you want to work with multiple layers. We're at like 4 layers right now. And then I'm going to do the same thing like I did with the other effects. You're gonna play with the blending modes. This is where, like, see, like, that's pretty cool. That's really wicked. That's really wicked. We can do something like that. Um, so just all sorts of cool, interesting effects. We're gonna actually do that. Um, we're gonna leave it like that for now because I want to see what else we can get with uh, with our textures and stuff. I honestly think for the most part, um, for the subject, we're actually gonna sort of use our brush for this because I don't like how it's kind of interfering with him. Um, so we're just gonna blend more of this in. Um, so you notice how it blends in more. blends in more with the background. We don't have that line right there. Um, just gonna kind of blend that all off, sort of on the background, but then again, we could probably also move our subject too, so I like it like that. That's good. I'm gonna blend this. Okay, so um, so yeah, I think we'll stop here for this video. Again, this is um, again we uh, again this is a tutorial going on like over some um, some just basic like understanding of layers, what they do. I'll try to get a better like graphic direction for you guys next week on this. It's just pretty much just playing around with some cool you know background effects. Look online. Um, I'll also for next video I'll post if any of you want links on backgrounds, I'll post that in the video or in uh, the next video that I do. Primarily, like the next video, we're going to be going over sizing, like different proper sizes for posters. I do want to talk a little bit about. We can dive a little bit about, you know, um, different like the prints and also to like bleeds because in print there is a process called bleeds. I'll talk to you a little bit about that, and yeah, should be a great video. Again, I just want to make a quick, not a quick video, but just a video that is sort of the fundamental things of backgrounds. And how backgrounds are, and then also layers, the layers of those backgrounds. Like each, notice like we only worked with one, two, three, pretty much three layers. Four if you count the subject, but the subject is going to be the one that really kind of stands out in your design. So again, I hope this kind of helps you guys out a little bit with understanding layers. Know that layers have their part for every single uh, process in your design. Even if you're doing any kind of like brush effects or anything like that, I would always use layers. Never put your your effects directly, or if you're using like any kind of brushes or anything, or whatever you do, do not actually try to exclude it with your layer thumbnail or your main subject. Otherwise, you can't get rid of it. Like you can get rid of the background, but if you merge your background with your main subject, I'll do that actually right now. So say if I got these two layers, um, so say if I got these two layers, if I merge these two together, um, now see and then if I have notice like I can't do anything. I can't go in here and you know kind of maybe change my background color for my background graphic because look, now it's merged together with my main subject. So um merging subjects, that's a different video I can actually make if you guys are interested in knowing about that. But again, if you like this video, like it. If you don't, tell me what you would like to see. What ways can I do better to help you, and um, give me a better understanding of the creative, direction and overall creative input and output that you guys have. And thank you so much, and um, like the video if you like it, and I will talk to you guys again soon.